Hey YouTubers, diecast collectors. It is Wednesday, April 30th, 2014, and this is going to be a little diecast review of some Mustangs. And I wanted to tell you guys that I will be doing a shout out video to all the YouTubers who comment, so I'm going to do 3 more videos probably. This is going to be the first one, and I might be doing maybe another review after that, and then another haul. For right now, you will have a chance to leave some comments, so make sure you start commenting, because when I do the shout out, I'm going to be sifting through comments and checking out some of your stuff you post. So make sure you leave a line or something, actually watch the video, don't just leave like an underscore or a period just to get in there, because then I won't pay it any attention. So make sure you actually leave a comment. And yeah, so I'm probably going to be buying the other M2 machines. They got a set. It's the 50 years of Hemi Mopar set, and that'll probably be another review coming up soon, so make sure you watch for that. And first off, I want to get started here. It's kind of random. It's a necklace I made. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's a skull. It was out of this vending machine, and I just drilled a hole in the top of it, strung a string through it, and did this kind of thing right here. These are turquoise. So yeah, they're pretty this is pretty interesting, I thought. But you can see there's kind of this pattern with these metallic beads going on there. So yeah, pretty cool stuff. I did that all by myself, and yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool. So and it goes all the way to the end right there, as you can see, and I tied it up with a few overheads. So yeah, pretty cool necklace. Alright, so I'm going to set that off to the side here, and let's get on with the review. So first off, I'm not going to get to the twister just yet. I will show this one. Black Shelby GT350H. What more to say? I think that color is sinister looking with that black, gold. Just awesome. Love this car. Alright, so I'm going to get on to the front end here. Nicely done headlights. No peg really. There's a peg there, but you really can't tell. It looks like part of the light. Nicely done grill. It's not mesh, but it looks kind of deepish. 66 on the license plate. And there's marker lights right here. Nice chrome front bumper. And there we are, gold stripes down the sides of it, which is the signature of all the Shelby cars. And the side vents are actually plastic right here. This is metal, and the side vents are actually separately attached pieces. I guess that's so they can put like the different trim, like the I know Shelby's had like not just the scoops, but they had like the accent pieces on here, so that must be a way that they have to cut cost or something. But you can see the glass right here. Now there's a difference between this and the 65 that I have, which is the I think it's like the 80 years of Shelby or whatever. It's the years of Shelby that he lived. It's like a different edition, but it had like window vents right here. It didn't have the side glass, so there's a bit of a difference between this and that one. But here's the back seats right here. You can kind of see there's no roll bar. This actually does have a back seat to it because it's a Hertz car, and so they probably need the back seat in there for extra people. And that's so you can say, hold on, I want to do something. So anyway, very nice door handles. They are separate, which, well, they're not separate, but they are separate. They're kind of painted in, it looks like. I'm not sure. I can't really tell, but they might be separate door handles. So anyway, very nice Goodyear tires with the mag wheels. Definitely a good rim on this old car. Tires are a little wobbly. That's always my one issue with M2s, is that they don't quite tighten them enough, but that's okay. Nice rear end here. Very nice taillights. Very nice badging. And you can see the Shelby emblem right here. And the license plate says 66 on it. And the gold stripes continue all the way down as they should. Very nice car though. Alright, so first, oh yeah, the hood pins right here, these aren't attached to anything. Of course, they don't have any like separate cables or anything. My one issue is that they didn't quite, you know, get all the paint on the stripes. There's some little flecks right here on the hood that, I don't know, it'd probably be easy to clean that up with some alcohol or something, but I just don't want to do it. I could probably, I don't know. But I might decide to clean it up if I put some tape on the stripe before I start cleaning it. Anyway though, very nice car. Windshield wipers also are separate, which that's another good feature. Alright, so I'm going to get to the hood. And yeah, this has succumbed to a gravity effect. I don't know why, but the hinges aren't always the tightest thing on these. Hood hinges at least. Very nice engine, well done. Separate strut bars and everything. Of course, this is separate too. This engine is fully wired. I don't know about plumb, but there's a radiator plumbing right here. So very well done. Battery is separately painted, which I do like to see on M2s. So all kinds of wiring, all the right stuff in here. It looks very good, and it's even got the little thing on the air cleaner that says, I think it says like 350 on it or something. I'm not sure what these had on there. But very well done and represented engine. Always what I like to see. No plate like Jada cars often have. All separate engine blocking, which I always like to see that on M2s. That's just something they go to the extra mile to put detail in there, which is always worth the $5 extra that M2 costs over Jada, because usually Jada is like 15 and M2s are usually like 20. So you're not paying much more for an M2, but you are getting better quality for that money. So it closes pretty nicely too. It kind of, oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. This scoop, you can actually, it's not a plastic piece that's been put on there. You can actually see through the scoop. You can kind of see my finger right there. Alright, so there we are. Interior, very well done. There is a T-bar shifter. I just call it a T-bar shifter. I don't know what the technical term for it is, but it's a very nice interior. You can see that there's a separate tachometer on the dashboard. Pretty nice. Separate mirror and everything. Very well done. Seats are textured. You can tell they're textured there. No carpeting or any flocking on the interior. There is no carpeting, but hey, you really don't notice it, so it's pretty nice. But the doors close pretty darn good, I will say that. Whoops, I bumped the camera. Move it back here. Sorry about that. Other side of this car here. Again, very well done interior. See, unfortunately though, my one little quip about this is that whenever you get one of the, well, whenever, they usually don't, the steering post, the column where that's supposed to cover the column, it always kind of steers with the wheels, which I'm not a big fan of, but this one you really can't tell because I think it's pretty tight on there. So I can't really tell on this one, which is actually not that bad. But very nice again, tachometer. Gauges are in there too, fully detailed gauges and everything, pretty good. I kind of hope they come out with like the 67 Shelby, like the Eleanor model, but not the, well, they probably won't do the Eleanor model, but I kind of hope they do the 67 eventually. That would be nice to see. Instead of recasting the same 66 or 65, because that's getting a little old. They keep doing the same tooling, and I think they've kind of worn out the Mustang, for me at least. There's only a few more Mustangs that I might consider buying from M2, and that's maybe like the 60s or the 67s or something. This is a 66, but there's only a few I might really consider getting from them. Anyway, let me move on here. Spare wheel is nicely done too. There is a spare tire back here, which I like to see. You don't often see that. They usually just leave the trunk blank, which that's okay, but at least the trunk opens usually on them. But here there's a spare tire, which I think that's pretty neat that they added that. If they added some like picnic basket, you know, that's how they usually did the trunks of muscle cars. They had like a plaid lining back here, which that would have also been nice to see, but they did put a spare tire in here, which that's pretty cool. So props to M2 for that. Usually these Shelbys are a bit nicer, that's what I think. These are a little more detailed in my opinion. Alright, so I'll move on to the undercarriage here. Very well done. The steering is actually the best I've seen on most M2s. Usually it's a little loose and floppy, but on this one I think they stepped it up a bit. The steering is a little tighter, which that's pretty good. Nice tight steering. These tires, they weren't on the real cars, you know, they're not too wide, so that would probably be scaled correctly to what you would see on one of these, is like a not really that wide tire. And definitely nice. You can see the oil pan right here, and they definitely did this is a plastic piece right here. This is kind of like the belly pan of the car, and definitely nice looking blue oil. There's the blue engine here, the Ford blue, and you actually see that this exhaust is a little different color than this piece. This is like almost a goldish color, and this is like a silver, which I like that they actually bothered to paint them two separate colors, which I'm not sure if that's factory correct, but at least they did it. And there's a plastic drive shaft underneath here, which that's another good thing. Separate suspension. Well, not the suspension doesn't work, of course, which that's always on M2s. The suspension doesn't work, but hey, they did a good job of it, and it's all there, and it looks correct. You can also see that there's separate like bars up here, so pretty good underside there. All in all, I'd say I'd give that car a 9.5 out of 10. I would think, pretty much, except for the few things like the wobbly wheels, and there's maybe like one thing on that car, and the whole steering wheel connected to that little center section, but other than that, 9.5 out of 10. Alright, so moving on to the this was actually the top of the line you could get back in that time period, was the Twister. It's the this is a Mustang Mach 1. And this car definitely, you're not going to be missing something like this if you're driving it in real life. This is definitely what they would call a cop magnet. Grabber orange, black side trim, and of course back here is a Twister special logo. Very nice. Alright, so I'll get on to some of the features. Of course, there are separate lights, and you can see right here there's the headlights, and these would be the marker lights right here, or I'm not sure if these are high beams or what, but there are separate lights up front, and they have a bit of a peg in them, but that's not really anything to really, like, you know, moan over. But they do have a peg in them, you can kind of tell, but it's still pretty nice. And you can see that there's some silvery, I don't know, this is painted silver right here in the bottom. And of course there's a front air dam in the front, which is like the diffuser, which I guess is to keep the car on the ground. So pretty cool. Goodyear polyglass tires on some good old mag wheels. These definitely look nice. I did make sure I bought the best one out of both of these. One of them had a little bit of a paint chip up here, and I was wise and I looked at them before I bought them. You always want to do that with M2s, because I've seen people with mirrors missing on some of theirs. I've seen one that was just off the base completely, but he didn't buy it knowing that. He ordered it off online, and I guess some Yahoo sent it to him with the car off the base, which really sucks, but I guess it happens. I mean, I would hate that day would suck if you ordered one of these and the thing was off the base completely all beat up. Okay, so anyway, moving on. Yeah, very nice polyglass tires, good mag wheels. These are a little tighter than the Shelby. These aren't too wobbly, they're actually a little bit better. Twister. Separate marker lights as usual, which I like to see that. And of course, here's the rear end. The tail lights are separate. Again, it says 1970 on the license plate. And there's a little logo right there. It's blacked out in the back. See Mach 1 with the stripe. So yeah, louvers on the window. These are, it's like the screen right here. The louvers are really well done. Silver separately painted here. So very nice. Alright, so first off, hood pins right here, of course they're not connected to anything as usual. So first thing is I'll get on to the engine. It's a Cobra Jet motor. Well done. You can see the big block right there. And there's supposed to be a caution fan logo right here. I've seen that on like the actual car. Although you might be able, I can't make it out, but I think it's supposed to say caution fan right there. Yeah, I can't really see it, but it's probably there, knowing the way they do things on these engines and stuff. Very big hood scoop. Of course, it's separate. You can see it's a shaker, which it doesn't say shaker underneath it like the Hemi Cuda or the Dodge Challenger, but it is a shaker hood. What's the technical term for it? Separate strut bars. There is a distributor cap right here. Of course, there's no wiring coming out of it, but it's still pretty nicely done. Closes nicely. Good, nicely applied decals and everything. This one is a pretty good example of what they can do when they get everything right on these. Because sometimes you see some stuff wrong with these if you're not careful. Well done interior, wood grain. There is on the dash right here. I do have another one of these, but it's the same model, but it's a Boss 302. And I wanted to get this one because this is a pretty special car actually. I really like the Twister. Kind of been wanting one of these for a while. Very nicely done door panels. Again, separately applied grains. Silver piping, very well done. Alright, so I'll get on to the other side here. Steering wheel, separately painted. Very nice stuff. Gauges and everything. Very well appointed interior. They definitely knocked it out of the park on this one. The steering wheel actually on this one, the center section really doesn't move. The little center posts don't move on this, which is a good thing. Can't really see any movement there. So, and well, the steering is nice and tight too, which I like to see that. The steering is not wobbly at all. So yeah, very well done. Alright, so now I'll move on to the trunk, which there's not much to see in here either. And there's nothing done in the trunk at all, which that's fine. Usually they leave it to just leaving it blank, so there's no picnic basket or plaid. There's no plaid on the trunk here, which that would have been nice to see, but at least they have an opening trunk on this, which I like. I like that. And of course the big spoiler, which these are actually, you know, these were the days when they weren't ricing out cars to put giant wings on them. It's a nice little tasteful spoiler on the back there. And of course the separate door handles, which I like to see, and the windshield wipers. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'll move on to the bottom of the car. Hold on. My one quip with the car, I don't know if you guys can see it, they kind of, well, you really don't notice it, but I kind of wish they had left the exhaust separate instead of just painting it into the base. And of course then they kind of like cut a corner here by just making the header come out there, and it just, if you're looking at it from a certain angle, it doesn't exactly look right. But there's one thing that they kind of missed the boat on. They could have done that a little better. Of course, this is definitely the same casting as the Boss 302. underside, there's no question about it. I don't know if the engine's the same, but the underside, they definitely kind of left that the same here. So I kind of wish they made the exhaust separate, but I can't really complain. You know, if you're looking at it from, you know, here, you really can't tell. So it's not that bad, but if you're looking at it from the right way, it kind of looks like they did two separate exhausts here. But I don't mind it too much. Of course, there's chrome tips right here, which that's pretty nice to see. And they go out into these chrome tips back here, which those are painted in. They're blacked out, which I like to see that, not one big chrome tip. At least they blacked out the center of it. But yeah, steering's very tight. Rear wheels are a little wobbly, but the front ones seem to be pretty nice on. Alright, so metal base as usual. The Shelby was also a metal base. I forgot to mention that, but both of these are metal base models. Alright, so on to my verdict. Now the Shelby, I said a 9.5 out of 10. I might say the same for the Twister, 9.5 out of 10. Both these models are very great. If you can pick them up at your local Walmart for 20 bucks a piece, that's very reasonable, because I know oftentimes they're going for like $30 on die-cast models wholesale. So if you can pick them up at your local Wally World for 20 bucks, you definitely should. If you have the choice between getting something by Jada and M2 machines, I definitely would recommend M2 machines, because in my opinion Jada is kind of just a shelf filler. These are actual collectibles in my mind. So anyway, so I hope you liked the video. Remember to comment, and you might hear your name on YouTube, and because I will be giving shout outs, just make sure you leave some comments down below. And yeah, definitely check out my other videos, see what's going on, and like I said, rate, comment, subscribe, and check out everything else, the J-Man 63. Have a good one, guys. Goodbye.